evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is 8:07 p.m. And this is Sabbath has ended on Saturday, and now we are on the cusp or in the middle of Sabbath Sunday for those who celebrate Sabbath in earnest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping that those who celebrate your Sabbath on Saturday, I'm hoping on Friday and Saturday, I am hoping that you took the opportunity not only to praise the Lord, but also to thank the Lord for whatever may come. Continue to praise that Lord of ours who we call Jesus Christ. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is Random Saturday also. And this is where you get an opportunity. We talk about maybe random situations. And we may have breaking news, which we did have earlier, which you know. And of course, anytime you have breaking news with this criminal government around, you know what that is. They done teach something again. So, ladies and gentlemen, and I wasn't on location at all today, which I guess was probably all right when you think about it. But this is Black Belt the Voice. I am Gorman Bannister. And this is October 6th. And I'm listening to some soft music. The Delphonics is Why You Want to Break Your Promise. Why You Want to Break Your Promise, baby. And yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's deal with the subject. It's called Systematic Corruption Up at Immigration. In fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, immigration is a boiling pot, a cesspit of corruption from top to bottom. And the thing about it is, Brent Simmons is right in the middle of it, and they cannot stop him. So let's talk about it. This week past, the Director of Immigration was summoned to the cabinet of the Bahamas. This week, personnel of Foreign Affairs was at the Immigration Department seeking answers. Both moves were designed to find answers about the systematic corruption up at immigration. The question for us right-thinking Bahamians is whether the cabinet and foreign affairs checking for the two tiers of corruption at the ministerial level and the rank and file level. See, that is the question for us right-thinking Bahamians to ask. Is the cabinet of the Bahamas and summoning the director and foreign affairs of sending personnel up there, are they checking for the two tiers of corruption? One at the ministerial level and the other at the rank and file level. There are two. The government's mandate, either working through the minister Brent Simmons or the minister working his and their thing by the government apparatus to regularize Haitians and those with $250,000 for work permits, is being done without our permission, and it has caused a bigger problem. Those that know the mechanics of the department, the rank and file, have likewise established their own mandate. So, Brent Simmons can't be stopped, and neither can some in the rank and file. And so this week, ripples of anger went through the cabinet at the blatant decisions by Barma to use Dominican women to clean up the rubble left behind by the Crystal Palace implosion. Now again, for us, right-thinking Bahamians, it's insulting and short-sighted to bring in maids to clean up when so many Bahamians do that similar work every day. But for criminals making up the government, they rankled over the fact that Barma was able to intrude on their cabinet and Brent's system of corruption and get the job done without them and right in the midst of their territory. So that was the reason for the Director of Immigration visit to the cabinet and Foreign Affairs visit to immigration. Ladies and gentlemen, part two coming up. And oh, tell me what should I do when you told me that you love me, darling? Why you wanna break your promise, baby? Oh, that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we'll leave that alone. I said old Delphonics. I listen to that old music, ladies and gentlemen, because it reminds me of the old times, right? The whereas where things were more upfront, ladies and gentlemen. People were more upfront, even what they did. Whether it was right or wrong, they were more upfront, and they weren't trying to wholesale abuse nations of people like these criminals are doing now. But anyway, let's get on back to the systematic corruption up at immigration, and it's operating on two tiers. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said to you, what happened is that the government is now rankled this week over Barma's ability to bring in some Dominican women, to have Dominican women on the site, okay, working outside of Brent and the government's and the cabinet's corruption system, and doing it right in the midst of their territory. The government was rankled by that. They were totally rankled. And in both instances, they walked away from the meeting as far as the director and foreign affairs. They walked away from the meeting and investigation with less than what they thought happened. The director doesn't know, he said, and foreign affairs personnel left more confused than as inquisitive before they went to the immigration department. They left more confused than they left more confused about what was going on than the questions they had before they went there to see what was going on. And what is the genesis of what is now a tiger by the tail up at immigration? Ladies and gentlemen, this criminal government started this downhill disaster by letting Brent Simmet have his own employment agency where for $250,000 anyone can get a work permit and experience the ease of doing business with the Holowesco family, a one-stop shop. The government then decided to expand the slackness of immigration by engaging in an ongoing grand deception where they are colluding with the Haitian community to make us believe they want the Haitian gone, when in fact they are doing the exact opposite to make sure they take the place, those Haitians, to make sure those Haitians now take the place of Bahamians as the major workforce. To all of this, it was only us, right-thinking Bahamians, that had a problem with the immigration, had a problem with immigration being systematically impotent to the slackness of the department. It was only us, ladies and gentlemen, us right-thinking Bahamians, that had a problem with the immigration being systematically impotent at the slackness of the department. Then recently, Indians from Bombay showed up at BPL on Clifton Pier site and just started working after lunch as if they were working before lunch. The Bahamian workers raised all kinds of hell, yet no response from the government. They didn't summon the director of ACT to find out about that. They didn't send foreign affairs down to PPL to find out about that. In fact, they didn't even give us no response. BPL gave us a response when they were supposed to come in from June because of the deal with the peak system, the deal with the peak season. This is now September. Well, if they were supposed to come in by June and they didn't show up, and by that point they could have canceled them coming in. But we've already been through that as far as how they get visas. How do they get visas from there? Okay, that's the question. How do they get visas? How did the immigration come down and come in there? Did they come in as a group? Did they come in one by one? How were they cleared to come through? How will we not know? How did we not know? Now, last week 15 Dominican women cleaned up the rubble at the Crystal Palace demolition site. And all hell has now broken loose at the cabinet and foreign affairs level. So what is to be the logical conclusion to us right-thinking Bahamians? This criminal government doesn't appreciate someone else getting benefit off of corruption that they themselves let Brent start and they joined. And what can the government do now? What can the government do now is the question. Maybe they should expand their search for who is dealing in corruption like them by looking at the fact that the Dominican women didn't necessarily come in for the Crystal Palace event. Ladies and gentlemen, part 3 coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is part 3 of your special presentation. It's called Systematic Corruption up at Immigration, and they can't stop Brent. And so, this is where we're at again. Like I said, this is October the 6th. This is Sabbath on the cusp. We are in the middle of Sabbath Sunday. And so, I did say that this government, they don't appreciate someone else getting benefit off a corruption that they themselves, that Brent started, and they joined. And so what can this government do now? Maybe they should expand their search for who is dealing in corruption like them by looking at the fact that the Dominican women did not necessarily have to come in for the Crystal Palace event. Think about it now, they didn't necessarily have to come in for that. Could it be possible that they were already here as visitors, or those working in other off-the-radar jobs? Watch where I'm going now. There are a number of Dominican women who operate as whores at Basil Sands Jr. Stable on Oak Hill Road, and that's not too far from Crystal Palace. The question is, though, is there anyone at Balmar who may have a connection with Basil Sands Jr. and could access all the Dominican hoes that would then moonlight for what are only glorified maid jobs cleaning up the mess of Crystal Palace? That is a serious consideration. If you all take serious, I've been telling you all what's been going on Oak Hill Road. Is that very possible? Could be a stable up there, or enough to bring more if necessary. So it may not, in fact, have been done through the Immigration Department. It may not. It may have. It may not. One never knows. But what we do know is that no matter what the government does about work permits, they can't stop Brent, and he can't stop the rank and file crew that's doing their thing up in immigration. This is what happens when you start out in deception. Other people got a hand, they know how to play a hand too. So now we understand up in immigration is like war zone. Brent got his people watching these next set of people, the next set of people watching Brent people, and they're all laughing at Brent. Because they have tapped into, I'm talking about the criminals in the government, they tapped into a system that was running long before they got there. They only have an opportunity to run better now because there's a system of corruption operating at the top. It's two different entities. There's no cooperation between the two. Now, the problem with that is you can't get into Brent's corruption crew, and it's going to cost you to get in that rank and file area, because I'm understanding there's work permits going around like for $8,000. Play on the books. So this is the dilemma that you find yourself in. And ladies and gentlemen, us as right-thinking Bahamians have to recognize that corruption is at the core. Corruption and immorality. I keep telling you that. In order for you to get in this situation, to get in with good with that for them, Menace is paying for corruption, paying for immorality. All of that for support for him. That's why it's all systems go in the government, all systems go in the sissy world, and if you carrying two of those things with you, right, you are the perfect match for Menace. Because he is focused only on him and maintaining support as best he could. So you can get what you want if you... There's no sense now you PLPs going there faking this thing about corruption, because you all know corruption. There's no sense you go faking like your own sister. You can't get past ministers like that. They know who is who. And they are the persons getting the job. They're the persons getting the contract. The problem up with immigration is there is three apparatuses working up there. Brent is private apparatus, the government and their apparatus, and now, lo and behold, the rank and file has decided, hey, y'all not going to browbeat us to go in some bush catching people when you're really not interested, and then you're only turning around and giving them out work permits anyhow. They decided that that's a no-go. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the systematic corruption going on up at immigration, okay? And you can't stop Brent. The only thing about that is Brent can't stop anybody else. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're faced with. But I want you to know, as we are on Sabbath Sunday, all of these things mixed together. All things work for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. make sure that you are in God's purpose. In all things, they will be working together for good. That doesn't mean all good things will work together for good. That means all things will work for good, because God will take them and make them work for good once you're called according to his purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. Have a good Sunday Sabbath on the cusp of Sabbath Sunday evening. And let us remember that only what you do for Christ will last.
You got no time. All right, now. All right, now they finished taping what I was taping, but I couldn't talk about it. Yeah, so what I'm trying to explain to you about, right, is that there are people in immigration that is doing their own thing. They don't have no concern. They don't have no concern whether the government raise 10 million, 5 million, 60 million, or whatever million. And that is what this government is. That's who they are trying to stop. That's why they had the director up there this week. That's why Foreign Affairs went up to immigration. They trying to stop that. They ain't trying to stop what Brent them doing. They trying to stop that because that's hurting them. And they don't know how the Dominicans got in there. Otherwise, they wouldn't go through that if they knew. Why would they go through that if they knew?